Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, he, she. And today we are looking at and talking about Facts from Sarajevo, a story of survival by Joe Kubert. Originally published in 1996, the edition I'm reading was published in 1998 by Dark Horse Books. Content notes for war, ethnic cleansing, explosions, violence against children and animals, smoking, refugee crisis, and rape. While not a book that depicts violence as artistry, it is pretty in your face and meant to shock you. Picking up this title as I work my way through some of the stuff that's been on my TBR the longest, Joe Kubert is obviously a big name in comics, although not generally known for nonfiction work. And while I was at least alive for the Bosnian War and know some people impacted by the conflict, I can't say I know that much about it. So I also wanted to pick this book up as a first step to engaging with this point in history. Sounds a bit silly, but it's already worked for me a couple of times before, and I actually already have a few follow-ups in mind, including The Fixer, Safe Area Gorazde, and War's End, all by Joe Sacco. As always, recommendations are always appreciated. Looking at the creative team, this comic was written and illustrated by Joe Kubert, someone who is referenced not infrequently on this channel due to his founding the Kubert School, formerly known as the Joe Kubert School of Cartoon and Graphic Art. Back before the Great Channel Reset, I had also reviewed Tor, a prehistoric odyssey, which I should probably re-highlight / review in some way. I'll never forget how Tor tried to convince me that his mullet was key to his survival and basically an evolutionary step forward. Otherwise, looking at his page on Wikipedia, as I do, quote, Kubert was born September 18, 1926 to a Jewish family in southern Poland, now Ozerany in Ukraine. He emigrated to Brooklyn, New York City, United States at age 2 months with his parents and his 2.5-year-old sister, Ida. Raised in the East New York neighborhood, the son of a kosher butcher, Kubert started drawing at an early age, encouraged by his parents. In his introduction to this graphic novel, Yossel Kubert wrote, I got my first paying job as a cartoonist for comic books when I was 11 and a half or 12 years old. $5 a page in 1938. That was a lot of money. End quote. End quote. Throughout his career, Kubert worked at DC Comics, St. John Publications, EC Comics, and Epic Comics, in addition to working for Stan Lee and freelancing. He also worked on a collection of faith-based comic strips, and his sons, Adam and Andy Kubert, along with his grandchildren, Katie Kubert and Orion Zangara, have all also worked in comics. Keywords that came to mind reading this comic: family, struggle, good versus evil, journalism, luck, and adaptability. The summary on Goodreads is, quote, in 1945, we told the world never again. In 1992, the promise was broken into bloody shards. That was the year that war broke out in Sarajevo, Bosnia. The year that genocide revisited the planet. It was the year that Ervin Rustemagic, an international businessman whose clients included author Joe Kubert, found himself and his family trapped in a city under siege. Ervin's only means of communication to the outside world was via his fax machine. As Joe began to receive these messages from Ervin, he did what he had done for years. He put the story to paper. Renowned comic creator Joe Kubert has been writing and illustrating comic books since the 1940s, including Batman, Superman, Tarzan, Enemy Ace, and Sergeant Rock. Facts from Sarajevo is by far one of the highest achievements of one of comics' greatest living masters. End quote. Looking at the art, I was surprised, but not really, that many people seem to find the art dated. What can I say, but I'm a sucker for such line work. Looking at the writing, the use of titular faxes was really interesting. That said, for me, the writing felt like it revealed some weaknesses on Kubert's part, namely, that his story largely passes over the experience of these horrendous events in a way that often felt a bit shallow and didactic. That said, Kubert did step up to write about a war that still doesn't feel like it gets much coverage, and did it largely in the moment. Moving right along to looking at the intersections of identity, as I do for all my reviews, following a conflict that broke down along lines of ethnicity and religion. Obviously, something like the social construct of race was pretty central to the story. Similarly, following a family of mother, father, son, and daughter, from Kubert's perspective, the quintessential heterosexual nuclear family of it all did come on pretty strong. In contrast, I did feel like we got a bit more nuance than I sometimes see about the wide space between being dead and being fully able-bodied and alive. Violent conflicts up to and including war are incredibly mass disabling and traumatizing events after all. Class felt like it was largely ignored. Bye y'all, keep reading and organize to end capitalist oppression. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.